Hello and welcome to the craft room here in my 1902 farmhouse. My name is Alicia with Country Mama Musings, and today we're working on this beautiful parallel post stitch block for our heirloom Afghan crochet along. So grab your supplies and let's get started. So for block 55, our parallel post stitch, we're going to be using our size H crochet hook and whatever color you have determined to be color A for our Afghan. For me, that is white. We're going to start with a slip knot, ensuring that we have a nice long tail to sew in later. And placing that on our hook, we're going to loosely chain 27. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 25, 26, and 27. Let's move on to row 1. For row 1, we're going to place a half double crochet in the third chain from the hook, so not counting the loop here on our hook. Going over 1, 2, 3, place a half double crochet in that chain right there. So yarn over into your chain, yarn over and pull that yarn back through so you have 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook, completing that half double crochet. Going to the next chain, complete a half double crochet. Going to the next chain, complete a half double crochet. You're going to place a half double crochet in every chain across, and I'll meet up with you when we get to the end. 24. And for our very last chain here, we're going to place half double crochet number 25. You're going to have 25 stitches now and throughout. Let's move on to row 2. For row 2, we're going to chain 2 and we're going to turn our work. Now, according to our pattern, we're going to place a half double crochet in the first half double crochet. This chain 2 is not connected to this half double crochet. We're going to place a half double crochet in this very first stitch here. So half double crochet, half double crochet in the next stitch, half double crochet in the next stitch, and you're going to repeat placing half double crochets all the way to the end of row 2. When you get there, your last stitch is going to be in this half double crochet here. These 2 chains that we skipped do not count as a stitch. So don't half double crochet in the top of this. You want your last stitch to go into the top of this half double crochet. You will have a total of 25 half double crochet at the end of row 2, and I will meet up with you here. We're coming up to the end now of our second row of half double crochet. I've got 23 completed. Here's 24. And right here in this last stitch, like I mentioned, 25. Again, do not crochet into the top of these 2 chains that we skipped. Let's move on to row 3. Hey, are you enjoying putting together all of the beautiful heirloom sampler blocks for our heirloom Afghan crochet along? If so, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, give this video a thumbs up, check out the playlist that has all of the videos for every block for our crochet along, and be sure to share the video with your friends that like to crochet. Okay, let's get back to our project for this week. For row 3, we're going to chain 2 and turn our work. Now again, this chain 2 is not going to count as a stitch, and it doesn't count as being any way connected to this first half double crochet. So having said that, our very first stitch is going to be a half double crochet in the first half double crochet. This is our first half double crochet. Go ahead and place a half double crochet there. That's our stitch number 1. Now for this block, according to our pattern, we're now going to work a front post half double crochet around the post of the half double crochet, below the next half double crochet. So this was our first half double crochet. This is our second half double crochet. We're going to work in the half double crochet below this. Well, it's kind of hard to determine where that is, but let's keep in mind we skipped these 2 chains. Here's our first half double crochet. Here's our second. We're going to work in that second half double crochet. It's technically below this second one. Here is where we would work that stitch. It's directly below it right here. We're going to work a front post half double crochet around this stitch right here. So we're going to yarn over, and when you place your hook in, do you see these little straggly little bits of yarn right here where we work these stitches? Go below those when you work this stitch. So yarn over, we're going to enter just before the stitch below that little straggly piece of yarn that I showed you. Come back to the front of that stitch. Make sure you go underneath that scraggly piece of yarn there. And we're going to grab our yarn and pull it back through. Give it a little tug so you can bring it up to the level of your work. We've done this before. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Now we have a front post half double crochet around this stitch down here. We're going to skip this stitch that we skipped. Don't work here because this half double crochet lays on top of it. See? But we're going to go to the next half double crochet and place a half double crochet there. Now we're going to work a front post half double crochet around the next stitch down here underneath this stitch here. So in essence, we're skipping this stitch because we worked a half double crochet here, and we're going to work a front post around this stitch here. So yarn over, again making sure that you go underneath those straggly little bits of yarn so they're on top of your hook, so to speak. Going from the front to the back and out the front again, grab your yarn and pull it through around that post. Give it a little tug, bringing that hook up to the level of your work. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Just like we did before, we're going to skip over this stitch that we skipped here, go to the next half double crochet and complete a half double crochet. And you can see where we're starting to have these front posts look really nice. We're going to do this one more time. We're going to work a front post half double crochet underneath this stitch here. The best way to find that is you're just going to skip this stitch, go to this stitch, yarn over, around that stitch for the front post, yarn over and pull that yarn through, give it a little tug to bring it up to the level of your work, and yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Skip over the stitch that we skipped, go to the next stitch and complete a half double crochet. You're going to continue doing that all the way across row 3 until we get to the end. You will end with a regular half double crochet right here in the top of this last stitch, not these chain 2. These don't count as a stitch. I'm going to continue our pattern of front post half double crochet till I get to the end of row 3, and I'll meet up with you there. I'm coming up here to the end of row 3. I've got one more front post half double crochet to complete right here. So yarn over, go around the post of that stitch, grabbing our yarn and pulling it back through, giving it that little tug to bring it up level to our work, and pulling through all of those loops there. Here's our last stitch. Remember, we're not counting this chain 2 as a stitch. Here is our last half double crochet. I'm going to place a half double crochet right there, and you should have 25 stitches when you get to the end of the row. So let's double check that. Let's remove our hook and double check to make sure that we have 25 stitches. Remember that your chain 2 does not count as a stitch. This was our first half double crochet right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and our last one right here is 25. Let's move on to row 4. For row 4, we're going to chain 2 and turn our work. We're going to half double crochet in the first half double crochet and in each stitch across. It looks a little wonky back here because of the way we've worked it. It's even at a really odd angle, but that's okay. Remember that this chain 2 is not connected to this very first stitch right here, so we're going to place a half double crochet here. There's 1. At the top right here of this front post, right on top of here, here's 2, 3, 4, and 5. You're going to work a half double crochet across the top of each stitch along row 4 until you get to the end, placing your last stitch right here in the top of this half double crochet here. Again, you're not going to work in this chain 2. You will have 25 half double crochet when you get to the end of the row. I'm going to go ahead and complete row 4, and I'll meet up with you when I get right down here to the end. Here to the end of row 4, here's half double crochet number 24 and half double crochet number 25. Let's move on to row 5. For row 5, we're going to chain 2, 1, 2, and turn our work. This is going to seem familiar. It's just a little different just because this row is established. We're going to do another front post row, but it's going to be much easier to see where your stitches go now because we have these front posts here to work from. We're going to half double crochet in our first half double crochet, which is right here. Again, this is not considered a stitch, so it's not connected to this first half double crochet. Right here, a half double crochet. Our next stitch is going to be a front post half double crochet around the post of this front post half double crochet all the way down here. So yarn over, slide your hook in behind this front post half double crochet, grab your yarn and pull it back through. Give that work a little bit of a tug to bring it up level to where you're working. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Skipping over this next half double crochet that we worked in front of, because again this lays on top of it, we're going to place a half double crochet in the next stitch. Half double crochet, front post half double crochet around the post of this front post half double crochet all the way down here. Give it a little tug to bring it up level to your work. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Skipping over the stitch that we skipped, half double crochet right here in this next stitch. Front post half double crochet all the way down here around the post of this front post half double crochet. Don't forget those little tugs. Yarn over and pull through. Skipping that stitch that we worked over, half double crochet right here. You're going to continue this sequence of stitches all the way to the end of row 5, and I'll meet up with you there. I'm here to the end of row 5. I have one more front post half double crochet to complete right here around this front post, half double crochet, and I've got 1 stitch left to complete my final half double crochet of this row. So let's take a look and see how our block is shaping up so far. We've completed 5 rows, and you can see how we have these parallel post stitches building one on top of the other as we work every other row of the front post half double crochets. We're going to continue on repeating rows 4 and rows 5, and I'm going to meet up with you when we're about halfway done so we can see how our block is looking. Remember, repeat rows 4 and rows 5, and I'll meet up with you at the halfway point. So we're at about the halfway point for our block number 55, the parallel post stitch. I have repeated rows 4 and 5 several times now, and I just wanted to take a moment here and let's review our block. You see that we have nice, even, parallel rows of our front post half double crochet. If you find that you're starting to have a little bit of leaning of your posts, double check to make sure that your count is right. A regular half double crochet will always be done on an odd, and the front post will always be done on an even as you do your count. With this block, I found it exceptionally helpful to make sure that I always count each stitch. For each and every row, you always want to end up with 25 stitches, remembering that the chain 2 at the beginning does not count as a stitch. If you find that as you've worked on your block, if it's starting to come in a little bit, almost like a triangle, you may have missed a stitch or two. Go back until you find that you have the appropriate number of stitches across, always 25. Go back to that point, take your work out, and start again from that point. On the opposite of that, if you're doing your work and you find that your work starts veering out a little bit, you may have accidentally added a stitch. So again, go back until you find the point where you have exactly 25 stitches across, take your work out, and start again from that point. Now, we want this block to be approximately 7 inches square. I've noticed that this block, as I work across, it's a little bit bigger than 7 already. I don't want you to worry about it, because once you get your edging on and you do your couple rounds of edging, I think it's going to pull these little parallel posts in a little closer together, and your block is going to be just fine. I'm going to continue on repeating rows 4 and 5 until my square is where I need it, and I'll meet up with you there. Okay, I'm here at the end of the body of our work of block 55, the parallel post stitch. I repeated rows 4 and rows 5 until I ended up with a square that is approximately 7 inches from top to bottom. From side to side as you work it, it stretches a little bit, so it may be a little wide. But don't worry, because once you put your edging on, I really suspect it's going to pull it in a little bit, and you'll have a nice, compact, thick, bulky square. I want you to end your square with a row 5, where you have your front posts. If you end it with a row 4 and then you do your edging all the way around, you're going to end up with a really thick band of single stitches, so half double crochets and then 2 rows of single crochet, and then you'll just have your 2 rows of single crochet down here, and it's going to look off. When we worked our front posts down here, you know, it really just pulled this up. You don't have a big band down here at the bottom. So end with row 5. Now what you want to do, once you have your block approximately where you need it, and again, it may seem a little off, this can stretch this way as you put your blocks together, and it'll be fine. And then it also has the room for these parallel stitches to come in a little bit. So if it's not entirely perfectly square, and I know that's going to bother some of you, it bothers me, just make sure you are as close and approximate as you can get without driving yourself crazy. And let me show you an example. We're going to be working our round 1 and round 2 edging all the way around, but here in this side here is where our edging will be, so it's going to obviously come out a little bit more, and already we're at 8 inches. However, once you start working your edging, like I said, I really think it's going to pull this in a little bit, and even as you put it onto your blanket, it's not going to gap. You're going to allow for these posts to come in a little closer. As you put your blanket together, you've got that wiggle room. Here at the top to bottom, when you're working on this, and of course it has a little bit of curl to it, it's okay, it's going to stretch out a little bit. And then those stitches in between are really going to become defined. So don't worry if it's a little wide from side to side and a little short from top to bottom. give it a stretch this way, and then measure, and you're going to want to be as close to about 7 inches as you can get. And we are about 6 3/4. If you can see that there, about 6 3/4. So we're really close to 7. So don't worry about that. I'm going to stop at this point right here, and I'm going to add my round 1 and round 2 of edging. Now this is color A. If you're using color A to join all of your squares together, you're going to want to complete round 1 and round 2 of your edging in the same color. If not, just complete round 1 of the edging in the same color as the square, finish off, then complete round 2 with whatever color you're going to do for your edging. Once you get your edging on, there's only one thing left to do. Get yourself a tag, mark this as week 55, the parallel post stitch in color A, and add this to your other Afghan squares and have them ready for when we put our Afghan together. We're getting close. There are less than 10 blocks to go, so we are getting there. So thank you so much for joining me here in the craft room today for block 55. Until I see you next time for block 56, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of each other, and have a blessed day. Bye-bye.